Hey guys, it's Jack from Maclunkey Cast with a must-read book of Thrawn by Timothy Zahn. Came out in 2017. Now, normally I don't do a lot of review stuff, although we do a lot of podcasts, watching TV shows, going over our theories and stuff like that. But I had to show off this book. Definitely want to highlight some of the stuff that maybe you guys haven't gotten to, such as comics and books, which are a little bit more obscure. So I wanted to give my thoughts and reviews of the book Thrawn, which is a must-read Star Wars book for anybody who hasn't read a lot of books or is super into the books and just hasn't gotten around to it yet. So here are my thoughts of the book. Alright, so I'm going to quickly give a preamble, which is just basically me going over the history, what I knew coming into the books. So what I knew about coming into Thrawn was I have gone through and watched Rebels. Probably not the best events to go through first, or although it's kind of intertwining, so it's not so bad. If you've watched Thrawn first, it's absolutely, I think, makes no difference from what my experience is. Although somebody might have a comment about that, so let me know if you guys think that would be better to watch with Rebels under your belt or without. But I came to this watching the Rebels series. I have read this before the Ahsoka series comes out, and as I record this, episode, I believe 6 happened, where Thrawn made his first physical appearance on TV for live action. Super excited about that, by the way. Love Thrawn as a character, thanks to this book especially. But Thrawn, coming into this, I knew about his other book series. I knew a little bit about his character from Rebels and from my friend Holden, who's also on Maclunkey Cast, shout out. But Thrawn has a lot of history. He has his comic series, which is actually just a recapping of this book, and it's actually got its own merits behind it. It's not a waste to recap the same story because you get to see these visuals that you normally can't see, which is huge. I really like that they do something like that, because maybe, I don't know if they do it for other things. They definitely have retold some of the stories from the movies before, but this is kind of an interesting, like a book to comic kind of thing, which is really neat because you never get to see the visuals for the book, except for maybe like fan art or official art that came out. So it's really neat to see some of these characters in action. But you get the comics, you got Thrawn's other 2 series. He has his original trilogy that we're reviewing today. He also has place in Heir to the Empire / Aftermath. And his last trilogy is going to be Thrawn Ascendancy, which is a prequel to the original book trilogy with his name on it, which is the one, again, we're reviewing today. So he has multiple book appearances, and they're all in trilogies because that's what Star Wars loves to do. Thrawn has quite a few media appearances, so you have a lot to enjoy if you enjoy this book as a Thrawn fan. And if you are a Thrawn fan from Ahsoka or from Rebels, you have plenty to go through in this book to enjoy, learn some of the depths of his character that maybe you don't get from the show. There is a lot to get into in this book, so let's get right into it. So why should you read Thrawn, and what is so good about it? Well, I think the Thrawn book has a ton of unique and enjoyable qualities, such as a lack of required knowledge. Even if you're not a Star Wars fan, or you're just an average fan who's not in-depth in the lore, you can actually read it, get through it, and enjoy it without it being dumbed down or being condescending. So usually they pose it as Thrawn getting the full picture, or Eli Vanto, who is Thrawn's translator / protege who's learning from him. They use that as a way to convey what is going on in a natural way, which is a really good way to get an idea of what's going on. You get a lot of details, such as a person's expression, environment, or thought process through this method. This and many other things are reoccurring in Thrawn, such as Thrawn's face analyzation, which he does for a lot of different people that he talks to and works with, and the many twists that you see throughout the book. This book has many rewarding details, so that if you catch it, it'll be given in a hint and you can kind of get an idea of what's going to come to next. And it's also very rewarding as well. There are a lot of them though, so even if you do or don't get them, they're very enjoyable plot points that you can enjoy, whether you can predict it or not. That's a part of why I love this book though. All these plot reveals, even ones that are just simple explanations you didn't expect to be a plot reveal, such as somebody being on a certain planet or just doing something basic, could be a plot reveal later in the book. So they make everything with a purpose, and they do it for a reason, and they do a good job of it. Now with the plot twist, we learn a lot about Thrawn's character because they utilize him as a main catalyst to convey what is going on, and then they use his point of view as the plot twist. So throughout this book, they develop Thrawn a lot by doing this, as well as other methods as well, so they flesh him out a lot compared to Rebels. So obviously, he is, with his name on the book, the main character, and he's a big focus of the book. And we do see other people like Eli Vanto, who I mentioned was his protege, and we get to see Governor Price. She is more of a B plot, but throughout that B plot, we get to have some intertwining storylines, as well as some enjoyable lore and depth into the Empire. Although through this book, we do have a pretty set path for most characters, with predictable endings, because a lot of them have been in canon doing certain stuff later in the timeline, such as Thrawn becoming a Grand Admiral and Price becoming a Governor. But we do get to enjoy the journey that they go on throughout this point in their life. For Thrawn, we see him act similar to Rebels. Cold, calculated, smart. We do see some more in-depth personality traits, such as Thrawn's weaknesses, where we get to see his inability to play the game of politics. We also see how he's mistreated by the rest of the Empire, mainly for being an alien, which is frowned upon since the Separatists were closely associated with aliens at the time, and the Empire is vast majority humans. We do see more of his thought process though in how he uses art, small behaviors, and more to create and execute a plan. So we do see someone later in the book with similar battle ability, who is seen as a rival early in the book, but it is an interesting back and forth the whole time, so we get to see Thrawn pushed to his limits, which necessarily we don't always get to see in other media. Overall though, I thought his character and actions were very interesting and fun to follow. You didn't know where his loyalty lied with the Empire or his Chiss people, so there's some mystery still there even at the end of the book. There are also a lot of those twists that I mentioned before, and reveals that we get throughout the book, so there's lots of exciting parts and pieces to follow and try to keep track of, as well as try to predict with some foreshadowing that they provide. We also see Vanto, his apprentice that we mentioned earlier, with Thrawn learning battle tactics. So they learn a lot from Thrawn, and throughout the book we get to see Eli Vanto become more and more like Thrawn and his thought process become more like his. But we do get to see Thrawn's abilities kind of counteracted by Eli Vanto, who has a better understanding of people, politics, and the Empire as a whole. He even has the ability to understand cargo and inventory a lot better than anybody else since his parents owned a cargo business. And as for Governor Price, we get to see her just go from a low-level government employee to the governor of Lothal, where she is seen in Rebels. She does lend the occasional hand to Thrawn. Again, it is a very small part of the book, but we do get to see her story intertwined with Thrawn's a little bit, and they'll scratch each other's back for favors. Throughout all the reveals and everything that we learn throughout this book, we get to learn a lot more in-depth lore about a lot of different things. We get to learn about the Empire, learn about Thrawn, and just learn about in general how the galaxy is at this time and point. And just in general about what this galaxy is like at this point in time from the view of the Empire. Now, there are a lot of twists, and I mentioned it many different times. You may be thinking that this is a bit cliche, there's too many twists, and it may be unfun, but it's actually not. It's very natural. It feels like it's just a part of the book, and it's like, and Thrawn might have known all this stuff, but he's just kind of keeping it close to the vest because he doesn't want to reveal it to other people. So we kind of have this viewpoint from Thrawn, but we also have this viewpoint from Eli Vanto as well, so some of the information is kept from us and then revealed later on once that plot plays out. And look, if you're not a Star Wars fan, or if you are, go out and read this. No matter what, just if you're going to be on the fence about reading the books in general, if you're reading a bunch of books and you don't know if this one's going to be good, if you don't read, if you don't do anything Star Wars, you can still go out and read this and have a really good time. It is such a good storytelling experience. The characters are so well developed. The plot line is very interesting. Honestly, I can't see a reason not to read this. So this is one of the must-read Star Wars books. Please go out and read it. Drop a comment below if you guys think the same, or if you don't, let me know. What are your gripes about it? Did I miss something? Please drop a comment and let me know what's going on, what you think. Hey, I want to give a quick shout out to you guys who've got this far. I appreciate you guys watching this video. It's one of my first of this kind specifically. I've been kind of messing around with what I want to do with this channel, with more videos, more Star Wars content. I've kind of landed and enjoyed making the reviews on books because I really enjoyed some of the books. And again, they don't get a lot of attention like other stuff does in Star Wars. So appreciate you guys who have watched this far. Please check out our other stuff. We do podcasts, me and Holden specifically does a ton of toy reviews. So even if you don't like some of the toys, he makes some pretty good quality content. So go check it out. Anybody who has any comments about what to do next, books, stuff like that, let me know. I've read a lot of books. If there's one you specifically want me to review, I'll go out and read it if I haven't already. So please let me know. And thanks for watching. Next review, Thrawn Treason.